Namaskar and welcome to Learning-Riti. Today we are going to start our first episode about your curiosity in solar PV e-learning video series. So in today's topic we are going to discuss what is solar energy. So we'll see that what is energy first of all, and then what is solar energy, and then what is the source of this solar energy. So with this all collection, let's begin today's discussion topic. So let's see what we have today. So very first question which comes that what is solar energy, right? Anyone have this question in their mind whenever we talk about solar energy, solar PV and all. So solar energy, before we understand the solar energy, but first let's understand what is energy. So energy is nothing but you can say nothing but power derived from. So energy is nothing but power derived from physical or chemical resources. It's a quantitative property. So it's a quantitative property which must be delivered to object to work on or to heat an object. So you can see that it's a power or a quantity property which is taken from a physical or chemical resources and delivered to objects to heat it or to work on this kind of object. So as I mentioned that it's energy coming from physical or chemical resources. It's a quantity or property which must be transferred to work on, perform work on or heat an object. And a very important aspect about energy, you should understand that it's a conserved quantity. Conserved quantity, what it means? It means that it cannot be created or destroyed. It can be converted from one form to other form. So whatever energy we see, they are all is a conversion from one source to other source. And in this process, the work is done by the system or any system or on the system, and it is utilized in form of heat and other various aspects. So again, come back to our the very first question, what is solar energy? So as we see that energy is the power or the quantity property which is utilized to work and to deliver power and to get the power from different physical and chemical resources. So here the power from where the energy is derived and the source, when the source is sun, then we call it solar energy. So now understand that solar energy means the energy coming from the sun, where the power we are going to extract the power to work on different object and to convert into heat and other aspects. So this is all we call it solar energy. Now the next very important aspect comes into picture is that okay, this is the solar energy, then what about it, right? So solar energy, when we say that as we have seen in our previous video, if you might have watched on different types of sources from where we are getting our electricity. So we had talked about fossil fuels, wind energy, biomass and hydroelectricity. So these are all one form of energy from where we are getting and converting it into electrical energy, we are getting it. But when we say that solar energy, then and the source is sun, then it's actually ultimate source of energy, meaning that all the energy are coming from sun, whether it is we are getting it from fossil fuels or from wind or from hydro, they are all ultimate source is sun. Now you must be wondering, wow, how this energy source sun is everything is coming from sun, then why solar energy, why solar PV? So let's see the difference here. So when we talk about fossil fuels, right, it is so we can say that fossil fuels are natural solar power bank, where the sun energy is stored in it in the parts which are million-year-old age, and they are all where the result of photosynthesis process, where the energy is stored in those no plants and fossils, and they converted over the years into this form, and then that we are going to extract the energy from that. So of course you can see now that sun is ultimately which was the cause behind converting those energy, storing those energy in these forms. So other example, you can see the biomass, where the energy is stored in the plants and the process which is responsible for this energy is photosynthesis, and this is the ultimately actually this is the process where the sunlight energy is converted into fuels into the biomass, and that process is photosynthesis. Now even you talk about wind energy, right, where we are going to convert the electricity from wind, where we are going to use the wind kinetic energy, but from where this wind comes from. So actually there are two things which is responsible for wind energy, is that rotation of earth, and then next is sun. So sun, what it causes, that heating of the air, right? So these two combinations work together, and then that's how the air flows, and that brings the kinetic energy which is utilized to convert to rotate the big fans which you might have seen, and then they are converted into electricity. So this is again ultimate source here became the sun, which is actually converting, bringing those kinetic energy into the air. Of course, and the next is hydroelectricity, which might wonder that how sun would be responsible for hydroelectricity storing part. So you can see that when we are talking about hydroelectricity, we are flowing water from height, and how the water is reaching to that height. Typically then this sun heats the water at the surface, and they evaporate and go into the cloud, form the cloud, and they rain, and then that water is collected at different heights, and they are flown through the turbine, and then the electricity is generated. So again here you can see that hydroelectricity, the main source energy came from sun. So the very interesting questions comes further is that the ultimate source of energy is sun, that every form whatever I are going to utilize, they are all converted, as I have already talked in the beginning, that energy is a conserved quantity. It is just changing the form from one form to other form, but the ultimate form from where all the energy have been derived is the solar energy, and the energy which is coming from sun. Now you may be asking that what is the solar energy then what is the source of solar energy, right? Then let me explain you briefly about the source of energy, and I hope that after this you will have some clarity about it. So let's assume that this is our sun, and the basic process which happens to generate the energy at sun is the nuclear fusion. So hydrogen atoms, actually we talk about sun, it's a gaseous object, full of gases, and where the hydrogen which is at very high pressure and very high temperature, they combine together and form helium atom, and in this process the mass is lost, and that is converted into energy, and the huge amount of energy is converted, and that energy ultimately reaches to us. And let's see how that reaches to us. So I talk about the sun, it have a core, the core which is generally 20 to 25% of the area. If you talk about diameter, then this much in this much area the whole nuclear fusion process takes place, and 99% of the fusion energy generation happens here. And you talk about the pressure and temperature at that point, then it's like 250 billion atmospheric pressure is here, and around 15.7 million Kelvin temperature. So the huge temperature and the pressure which is causing this nuclear fusion process at the core, and 99% of that happens here. And of course there are various layers. For example, after the core you would have a radiative layer, from where the energy which is generating at the core is getting transmitted towards the outer layer of the sun, and then the convective layer, and the very important layer which is of our use is the photosphere. We call it photosphere. So this is the deepest So this is the deepest region which we can see inside the earth, from where the energy is actually the energy coming from here. So when you move from core towards the outer layer and there photosphere comes, the temperature goes down, and at the photosphere region the temperature is somewhere 4500 Kelvin to 6000 Kelvin. So now if you have seen that black body radiations, any of the heated object that radiates from its source, and depending upon the temperature we get different wavelengths out of it. So if I plot that photon flux and the wavelength versus plot wavelength and photon flux phi, let's say, so you will get something curve like this, where it will be poking somewhere here and then that will again drop. So if you talk about temperature, whenever talk about sun, then we talk about somewhere 6000 Kelvin body, black body, and from where the radiation is coming. So this is the 6000 Kelvin, this is the temperature at photosphere, from where the temperature, the body radiation, actually visual part which we can see, and the reason why we can see that where the wavelength lies, right, 400 to 700 nanometer. 700 nanometer wavelength lies. So that's why we are able to see with our eyes. Of course, don't see it directly because there are other very harmful wavelengths in there which can damage your eyes. But for example, you can have 190 nanometer to up to 4000 nanometer wavelength light coming from there, right? So this is how you can see now that why the photosphere is visible, because its temperature is up to the level where we are able to get the wavelengths which are where our eyes are responsive, and this is actually the place from where the actual radiation radiates outward in our solar system, and we get our radiation on Earth, and that is converted into different forms. And again we'll come back to this kind of wavelength spectrum plot when we are talking about solar PV, which is very important now, which is very much dependent upon the what wavelengths we are getting and what material we are going to use to convert electricity from those radiations. So that would be a very different important aspect. But I hope that you might have now understood that the ultimate source of energy is sun, and what is the source of sun energy. I think from this nuclear fusion process and other concepts which I have told you, I hope you might have enjoyed it, and I hope we'll have lots of other further discussion and very technical knowledge into it. If you are really interested, then follow us on YouTube channel, and also subscribe to our Facebook and LinkedIn profiles so that you can have a latest updates with it. So with this, see you in the next episode with answers to your very other exciting questions and answers. Thank you very much. Namaskar.